Good afternoon, students. Welcome to this session of uh, BoS for Success for the CA examination for paper 4, that is your business economics paper. Although we had done the series for the first 3 papers, uh, accounting, law, and statistics. Uh, Now, this is the last paper, that is business economics. Now, we had just completed our live virtual classes for business economic recently. So definitely all the students who have attended the classes must be very confident about their preparation in the subject. Now, since your exam is nearing, hardly 15 days to go. So definitely you all are gear up for your preparation and accordingly allocating the time required for all the 4 papers. Now, initially from the very beginning itself, in business economics, uh, right from in the classes also or in the beginning, the interaction we had, from the very beginning itself, we had uh, taught you or we had guided you in a way that our purpose is to make you not only confident about the subject, but also you are confident to tackle the exams also. So in between the chapters also, we had uh, several times highlighted the important aspect of the chapters and the type of questions that is being asked in the examination. So definitely from that perspective also, we had dealt the subject. So both the purpose, your understanding of the subject and the types of questions that is being asked in the examinations. Although in recent times, you're also getting the examinations paper of business economics, which was not been done earlier. So also you have a feel of the type of questions that is being asked in the examinations. So before starting, I'll be talking about the weightage that is been assigned for all the 10 units which is there in the business economics paper, and which is important because generally in the question paper also this guidelines that is the weightage that has been assigned is adhered to by the paper setter. So definitely the first chapter that is the introduction to business economics, where the meaning and scope of business economics, basic problems of economics, and role of price mechanism is been discussed, and it is having a weightage of around 5%. So, but from the exam perspective, this chapter is also important because generally you need to have a clear uh, idea about what is economics and what is business economics, what is the distinction, what is the nature of business economics. Apart from this, the content that has been there in your course module, that is been elaborated in a very simple way. So, and that is we had already discussed in the classes also in detail the important highlighted concepts and the summary as well. So the first unit is having a weightage of 5%. The second, the important unit is the theory of demand and supply. Basically in economics, majorly demand and supply used to play a very important role in all the concepts that we studied. So our understanding of the concept of demand and supply, the law of demand, the law of supply, the elasticity, and the various types of elasticity, the effect on demand, prices, quantity, the theory of indifference curve, the determinant of supply, the type, the law of supply, the elasticity of supply. These are all important concepts because ultimately this basically lay the foundation of the subject in business economics. So this unit 2 is having a weightage of 10%. After that, gradually we move to the concepts of theory of production and cost, which is also very important because a person who is producing must be aware of the cost and the production techniques, the investment that is been involved, and the return that is been he is getting while for the money he is investing. So definitely production and cost is also important. In production and cost, the different factors of production, the short run and long run types, the law of production, law of variable proportions, producer equilibrium, the concept of cost, the short run, the long run, average and marginal cost, fixed cost, variable cost, all is been discussed in detail. And again, it is having a weightage of 10%. Then comes a very important part of your business economics paper, that is price determination in different market. Now, there are different types of market structure which we study in this paper. That is perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and not only the important features of these market types, but how the price is being determined in these markets, what are the positive aspects of the market, and what are the important lacuna that is been there in our individual market types, which is to be addressed or which has been addressed in subsequent market structure. But definitely that gives you understanding of in which type of market system a producer is operating. So accordingly, his profit margins and the price and the quantity that is been derived, the equilibrium point, all is been discussed in detail. So this is an important aspect in your paper, and it is carrying a weightage of 15%. So initially also in the classes also, we had very much elaborated in detail that you have to study the various aspects of market, and from the examination perspective also, very questions have been asked from this unit number 4. So prepare your preparation in such a way that you are able to answer the questions that is been asked from unit 4, that is price determination in different market types. Then comes determination of national income, where national income, the related concepts, calculation of national income by value-added method, income method, expenditure method, the different formulas for calculating personal income, private income, personal disposable income, all is been there discussed in detail in this unit. How national income is being calculated, what is GDP, what is GNP, what is GDP at market price, what is GNP at market price, how you can derive national income by different methods, what are the significance of that, what are the limitations of national income. So all is been discussed, and all is part of your course curriculum. So this is also an important chapter because not only it talk about the concept of national income, but also the various macroeconomic concepts that is attached with the this chapter, that is determination of national income in Keynesian two-sector model, three-sector model, and four-sector model, the multiplier concept, the leakages. Uh, these are all very important. The distinction between classical economist and the Keynesian economist, the psychological law of consumption, uh, the Great Depression has been discussed in this chapter. So this is also a very important chapter from examination point of view and from building the concept in economics also. So this chapter is also very important. Next come is business cycle, because you need to be aware of the business cycle, how it operates, the meaning of business cycle, the different phases, the four phases of business cycle, the causes behind business cycle, all is been explained. And this unit is carrying a weightage of 5%. Then comes unit 7, that is public finance, which is having a weightage of 10%, where we discussed about the fiscal functions, the overview of center and state finances, market failure, government intervention to correct market failure. Now, in the new curriculum, the process of budget making, sources of revenue, expenditure, debt, public debt, these are also been discussed, and these are all very important concepts in economics. So the effort is been to make the student aware about all these concepts, which is frequently used in economics, and uh, the understanding of these concepts definitely makes uh, the student feel better about understanding the macroeconomic environment that is prevailing in the country. So even at the time of when the budget is presented, how the whole process is been designed, the discussion of the budget, the cut motion, and all other uh, uh, features, all of the features or all the concept that has been associated with budget, that is been discussed in this chapter. Then the important part of public finance is fiscal policy. Again, this is very important. Revenue and expenditure is a very important concept in public finance and in economics as such, because definitely, ultimately, all your policy uh, will be these two aspects, the expenditure and the revenue, uh, with the implication of the policy, what effect it can bring. So that is an important aspect of public finance, and that is also been discussed in this chapter. So, and this chapter again carries a weightage of 10%. Then comes money market, where we talk about the concept of money, demand for money, important theories, concept of money supply, monetary policy. Again, this is
Nikhil sir, you are not audible. Nikhil sir, you are not audible. I think the audio is muted, sir.
No, it's fine.
Yes, now it's fine, sir.
Okay. Uh, the unit 9, that is international trade. That is an important aspect in your syllabus that has been covered, where we are talking about the importance of international trade, the different theories of international trade, uh, the different trade policies, instrument of trade policies, uh, trade negotiations treaty, exchange rates, international capital movement, FDI, FII, all is been discussed. And this chapter is also very important as per not only from the exam perspective, also for having an understanding of the subject. Then the last unit is Indian economy, where basic understanding of the uh, state of economy is been discussed, uh, right from the ancient times to the current stage. Uh, this whole what the policy is been there, the importance of Niti Aayog, and the different policies that has been implemented in the last 75 years of our independence. Uh, the reliance from agriculture to service sector, where now service sector continues to have a major contribution in GDP. All is been discussed in detail. So that is your content, basically from where the questions will be coming, the examinations. And as all of you is aware, this is an objective type paper where 100 marks questions of mark, each consisting of 1 mark, will be asked. And there is also a provision of negative marking in this paper. So while answering the questions, be doubly sure that what you are marking. And repeatedly we had told you, the students, that in objective type of paper, eliminating the options is very important, because 1 or 2 options might be not related to the concept. So that can be easily eliminated. And if you are aware of the concept, if you have an understanding of the subject, so you have to choose between the next 2. So be doubly sure before marking the questions, and particularly in the examinations hall. Now, one important aspect is all the questions that is been asked in the examination is of 1 mark each. So if you got stuck in any of the question and you're not able to proceed for if some calculation is there, so don't stick to that particular question, leave that question and move to the next one, because your time is also limited. It's a 2-hour paper, so definitely you have to complete the paper in the assigned time. So don't waste your time if you got stuck up in the questions. Although the questions are simple in nature, it doesn't having a very elaborate calculations or very important implications of the theory that has been asked in the examinations, because at the foundation level, generally the examination setters also know that the level of understanding of the student. So accordingly, the questions is been asked in the examinations. And recently, the trend that we had seen, the performance of the students, particularly in business economics paper, is quite good, and it's quite encouraging also, because definitely those students who used to put effort, there is no point that they cannot clear this paper. And one important aspect that we keep repeating in the classes also, that our study material is more than sufficient to clear the examinations. All the questions that is been asked in the examination is mostly from the study material only. So stick to that. Apart from this, we are also having Saransh, which is at this moment can help you in having revising the concepts. We are also already you have undertaken one mock test series. The second mock test series is the second mock test series is scheduled in the first week of May. So you can prepare accordingly and appear for the mock test paper. You can appear for the mock test paper. Now, even though you don't score very well in the mock test paper, don't lose heart, because ultimately you still have 10 more days to revise these concepts, and ultimately you'll be able to clear the examinations. So although whatever your performance in the first mock test paper, work on the mistake that you have done, correct the mistakes, and work hard for the next series that has been coming in the first, probably from 5th or 6th of May. So do well in that examination. This is about the basic understanding of the syllabus, the questions. Now, in nutshell, the major areas that to be focused right now, although the whole syllabus is very important, but few areas which is very important and generally the questions is been asked in the examinations. First is the theory of demand and supply. Definitely be clear about the law, be clear about the types of elasticity. What is elasticity? Simple calculation of calculating price elasticity, cross elasticity, arc elasticity. The simple formula is there. You are given three values. You have to calculate the missing one. So again, not very difficult type of numericals is been asked in this in the foundation level, but you need to be aware of all the formulas that is been given in the study material. So practice on those lines. And at the end of each of the course module, there is a summary of what is being discussed in that chapter. So kindly revise that summary also, because that for 1 mark questions, sometimes that is very handy, because ultimately if you don't have much time, you can revise the summary also, that because you have already studied the whole paper in detail, so you are having a knowledge of all that. So at the end, when 1 or 2 days is left for your examination and you won't be able to read the whole syllabus, so that time these summaries are very handy. So accordingly prepare that. So for numerical type of questions, apart from this, some theoretical questions is also been asked in the examination. Then again, production and cost, the different types of the cost, what is the reason behind the shape of a particular curve, what is law of variable proportion, what is short run, what is long run, what is return to scale. Although that all had been discussed in detail, but these concepts should be the students should keep in mind while going for their examinations. That is the paper that is scheduled on 21st of May, this business economics paper. So you need to be very practical also, apart from, because everything that has been there, you can't, sometimes you cannot uh, study in that much depth because due to shortage of time. But definitely don't be a research scholar on a particular unit. Understand the concepts. These are simple concepts. Don't overanalyze the concepts because some of the theory, some of the rates, some of the things is determined uh, by, like, suppose the rates that has been determined by the RBI. So don't go behind the logic, behind the reason of all that. Uh, for the time being, just uh, keep in mind that, okay, the Reserve Bank has given this definition. So accordingly, whatever the component that add up to that, you need to remember that. So this now time is not there to overanalyze the thing. The time is for revision, working on the weaknesses, uh, the common mistakes that you are making. You need to work upon that, and definitely our okay. One student had uh, uh, told that speak in Hindi, but definitely for this, although in the classes we used to sum up the concept in Hindi, although your study material are there in Hindi, but uh, definitely uh, learning business economics, you need to little bit be updated, update your English also, because ultimately you cannot run away from this. Uh, in Hindi, I can say that परीक्षा में आपको जो भी concept आपके सिलेबस में है, आप उनको अच्छी तरह से पढ़ ले। इम्पोर्टेंट कंसेप्ट्स, एक स्टूडेंट का अभी चैट बॉक्स में क्वेश्चन आया कि इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक्स, ये जो मैं बता रहा हूँ, what I am telling right now are all important concepts only. Even I am focusing on that areas where the majority of the questions that has been coming. So these are all important only, because from the very beginning I'm focusing on those area. I'm not going into detail of each and every aspect of your study material. I'm focusing on those area which are from the examination point of view is important. Although the whole study material, the whole syllabus is important, but analyzing the questions over the period of time, generally these are important areas where frequently questions is been asked. So you have to prepare on those lines. So accordingly, you have to prepare on those lines. As per this determination of a national income unit is concerned, already had discussed about that all the formulas that is been given in this unit. Kindly make a note of that. Although in the end of your study material, a summary of all these is been there. Although in the classes that is been conducted by Board of Studies, we had already several times, me and Assis had several times told the students that your notes is very important. What you are marking, because at the end of your preparation stage, the highlighted portions for revision's sake is important. Now, Sagar has asked whether the diagrams are important. Yes, diagrams are important, but you are not been asked to draw the diagram. You have been asked in the examinations the significance of diagram, even the x-axis, the y-axis, what are the parameters that is been labeled at, and what is the implications of the diagram. So from that perspective, diagram is important, because in economics, had it been a descriptive paper, now you have been asked to draw the diagram. But right now in the foundation paper, particularly economics, drawing diagram is not coming in the examinations. Yes, interpretation of the diagram, the inference drawn from the diagram, the theory that has been associated with the diagram, that is important. So that you have to keep in mind. So that is also very important. In the Keynesian and the classical module, generally the formula for calculating national income in two-sector model or three-sector model, what are the major component that is there in two-sector model, in three-sector model, the four-sector model, although just addition of one aspect, that is addition of one aspect is there. So kindly be careful about that, and how to calculate the national income that has been not only elaborated in your study material, even the in the practice set papers also, that has been given in detail. So practice on those lines, and that is important also. But because generally from the national income paper chapter, quite a few number of questions is been asked, and it is having again a weightage of 15%. So definitely that is important also. So you need to be confident about that areas. You need to be regarding diagram and all. Already I had told you that is important. But drawing the diagram is not coming in the examinations. But the reason behind the diagram, how that is been derived, and what are the important components that has been labeled in the diagram, the significance behind the theory from which the diagram has originated. These are important aspects from where the questions is been coming. All the numericals questions that has been there, that has been coming in the examinations, not required very study of very advanced mathematics. Is simple addition and deletion. Only you have to be aware of the concept. So and if you calculate if you add up the right component, you will get the correct value. So here revisions of the concept that you have been doing frequently, that is very important, and definitely that will help you, because that that only build the confidence when you enter the examination hall. If you don't revise the theory, what has been taught, what has been given in the study material, so definitely you won't feel very confident about approaching the examinations. And this paper, uh, uh, you can easily score 60 plus 70 marks if you just stick to the study module. And definitely the concepts are important, although that had been repeatedly been discussed in detail. That has been very simply explained in the study material. Apart from this LBC classes also, our focus is giving you a basic understanding of the subject, so that even when the classes is not going on, or when the class is over, you can able to understand the concept. So that is an important aspect of your preparation also. Then comes public finance. This MTP, uh, this paper, the unit on public finance, where I had already told you that what are the content given in this unit that is important, and the distributive aspect, the allocation aspect, the stabilization aspect, that has been the function of public finance. What is market failure? What are the government measures to correct the market failure? That all is already uh, uh, been discussed, and that has been elaborated in the study material. In the demand for money, the money market, the demand for money, uh, the different uh, types of money, what are the functions of money, uh, M1 aggregates, the different monetary aggregates, that M1, M2, M3, M4, how that has been calculated. Generally, questions is been asked in the examination. So focus on that. That is a simple calculation, but that I had told you that don't. It is not the right time to over analyze the concept. Uh, the concept that is being given is right, and that has been discussed uh, as per the requirement of the foundation level student. So we don't have to dig deep into the subject from the examination perspective. That is sufficient, because sometimes we are getting questions that what is the reason, what is the rationale behind the concept. So sometimes we had to keep things as it is, because 15 days for the examination. So don't overanalyze the thing. What has been given in the material, study that thing and practice as much as you can. Uh, as I told you that the first MTP is already been conducted. So definitely you had the time to analyze your weaknesses, work on that, and definitely prepare well for the next MTP. And even though you don't score very well in the MTP, that is just a preparation test. That is not your actual test. So don't be disheartened with your performance in the MTP, because actual test that has been your examination itself. So uh, MTP just give you a idea about your weaknesses. The strength, that definitely you are already knowing that, and every student has his own strength and weaknesses. So definitely working on the weakness is very important. So that is basically giving you the idea that how to what are the types of the different types of questions that is been asked in the examination. Although students have Sian has asked that how many hours we have to study economics. Now again, this is a typical question because prescribing, if I prescribe that you study 10 hours only economics, so your other subject you won't be doing justice to all to the other subjects, because clearing the foundation exam, minimum you need to score 40 in each paper and 50 in aggregate. So definitely at the cost of the other paper, you cannot like only study one paper and leave the other paper. So it depends upon there's no ideal answer that this number of hours that you are studying economics is a formula that you are able to pass that. Even 2 hours study, 3 hours study of a particular subject, because in a day, 10 hours you can study the whole day. So average 2.5 hours for each subject. Sometimes, suppose you are weak in one subject, so definitely that requires more effort vis-a-vis the other subject where you are more confident about. So there is no ideal hours that is to be prescribed. It depends upon the student, but average allocate your time on each subject on a basis that you are able to clear all the 4 papers, not one paper, because ultimately your aim is to clear the foundation examination. So that is my response to the number of hours, because nobody can prescribe that, because that again sometimes it depends upon the person to person. If a person is having a particular interest in a particular subject, now reading that particular subject for more hours give more joy. But right now your strategy is for clearing the examination. After you clear your examination, you can again study the subject. You can have more specialization in the subject. But right now, in the next 15-20 days, you have to balance your study in such a way that you give equal weightage to all the subjects. Sir, for economics after study material, yeah, study material from the very beginning, I'm telling you that our study material is more than sufficient. Don't go after other things right now. Just concentrate on the study material. Mostly questions are based on the study material only. So if you study our study material and keep on revising the study material, definitely you can clear the foundation paper. There is no doubt about that. But if you keep wavering from one material to another, so this is not the right time, because again, as I told you, 15-20 days hardly is there for the exam. So right now your study should be sticking to the study material only. Okay, thanks. So then again, important concept is international trade. Again, questions from the unit 9, international trade is been asked in the examination. So the different theories, what is the Ricardo theory, what is Mercantilist theory, the tariff, what is dumping, what is anti-dumping measures that has been there, what is GATE, what is WTO, generally all what are the advantage of FDI, FDI, what are the disadvantages, FII, advantage, disadvantages. These are important. So not only from the examination point of view, from for your understanding also, these concepts are important, because recently you are seeing the trade war that the US has launched with major countries. Now again, retaliation of the tariff war that has been there itself, that will be having an impact on the international trade, and definitely economy as a whole. So definitely different measures, different level of negotiation that has been going on between different countries uh, for the benefit of the country, and for the benefit of the people of the country. So they don't have to pay more for the particular good that has been imported uh, by a particular country. So from that perspective, that is important. In Unit 10, again, I had told you that what is primary sector, what is secondary, what is tertiary sector, what are the green revolution that has taken place, what is the importance of Niti Aayog, the different government schemes that is there, that has been briefly given in your study material, that is important, because generally questions is been asked, and had repeated several times that uh, focus on the summary, because summary is at the fag end. If you don't able to read all the detail that has been given in your chapter, uh, the summary will give you a question that you have at least revised the concept that has been given, because summary is nothing but just a brief of the concept that has been elaborated in detail. So right now also the historical evolution, although that has been negated, that has been very much been reduced in your study material. Historical evolution is from right now, from the exam perspective, is not very important. So focus on the concepts that at hand, that is important. And uh, the questions, I'd already told you that recently uh, you are getting the questions, so you can analyze the pattern of the questions, the in the toughness of the questions. Although I can assure you that for a foundation level of student who had studied the course module, the papers that is the paper that has been asked in the examination won't be very tough by any standard, because definitely that is been set in taking into mind that this is a student who had just completed his 12th. So definitely he or she must uh, be aware of the concepts. We don't want that he or she can be the master of the subject. So accordingly, the paper setter has this in mind. So definitely, don't very tough questions are not expected in the examinations, but definitely calculative part, analytical explanations of the concepts, uh, uh, references can be drawn from the concept, what references can be done, some recent examples, some recent thing that has been happening, some interpretation that can be asked, that can be asked in the examinations. Um, Although diagram I had already explained you the importance uh, uh, regarding the marking of the questions. I already explained that first negate the wrong one, then uh, mark the answer that when you are doubly sure. You don't have to stick to a particular questions which you are not able to solve, because every questions uh, is there, is consisting of 1 mark each only. So that is uh, uh, from my perspective. Now, I'll request Ashish also to share his view, because mostly I had already deliberated in detail from the examination perspective what is important. So few concepts that from the examination perspective that is important, where Ashish can also throw some light. So over to you, Ashish, for
Okay, sir. Thank you, Nikhil, sir. So, hello, students. Good afternoon, everyone. As sir has already mentioned about the curriculum, the format, and relevant associated details. So, I would not like to repeat that because I totally agree with whatever sir has said. The importance of making own notes and everything is there. Now, quick few points which if somebody would have told me would have helped me in the exam, I would like to reiterate before I get into any concept discussion. See, friends, number one is don't forget this rule. Number one is don't forget this rule. ICAI material. I am talking about economics as a subject. ICAI study material is very, very, very good. Everything you study from here will be reflecting in your examination. Okay, so ICAI study material is something that you should have read. Obviously, you would have studied it while preparing, but now since only few days are left for your examination, at least once read the entire material, including the summary portions. Point number one. Point number two is after reading ICAI study material, go through your self notes. So this will be your revision number two. There it is. This is the strategy of revision I would advise you to follow. Now, coming to the topic of, sir, how do we attend the MCQs? My theory is very simple. That if you are, even if you are 50% confident about a question being correct or wrong, go for it, mark the question, take the risk. Because 0.25 is the negative marking. एक जगह पे मार्क्स लूज करोगे तो दूसरी जगह गेन भी तो होगा, बट हाँ, if you have no idea about that question, don't touch it. Avoid negative marking there. But if you are sure, you are just a little confused, go for it. Now, having said all these basic things, coming to the conceptual explanation of things. Friends, oftentimes you get confused in the numerical portion of things. So I would like to revise with you the concept of price elasticity from microeconomics. See, price elasticity of demand is defined as percentage change in quantity demanded by percentage change in price. Now see, there are two formulas of price elasticity of demand. This is formula number one. Formula number two is, again, derived from this only. We have understood this. The formula number two is change in quantity by change in price into original price by original quantity. Students ask me कि सर यू हैव टोल्ड अस टू फॉर्मूलाज, आपने हमें दो फॉर्मूलाज बताए हैं, सो विच फॉर्मूला डू वी यूज इन द एग्जामिनेशन? फ्रेंड्स, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, if all the details are present, you can use this or this. But suppose in an exam setup, if institute has given you percentage data only, then will you be able to use this formula? No, you will not be able to use this formula. So which formula to use is entirely a function of what information has been provided to you in order to tackle that particular question. Okay, number one. Number two is that whenever they say rectangular hyperbola, let's say they say rectangular hyperbola, so in your entire microeconomics journey, rectangular hyperbola has appeared for primarily two times. In two areas we have seen the concept of rectangular hyperbola. So sir, what are the two areas? Friends, rectangular hyperbola was seen when we were discussing the shape of average fixed cost curve. When we were discussing the shape of average fixed cost curve, point number one. Point number two in this was, we had also discussed rectangular hyperbola when price elasticity of demand used to be 1. जब price elasticity of demand 1 होता है, तब भी rectangular hyperbola used to be 1. So there it is, the concept of rectangular hyperbola. We used to call it unitary elastic demand. Unitary means 1. Unitary means 1. Of course, unitary means 1. Of course, unitary means 1. Right, sir. So chances are At least one question will come in the exam from here. Obviously, I am not the paper setter. I am just talking out of experience that chances are that one will come out of here. At least this logic. Moving on to the fourth material or the fourth concept, as I would call it. Friends, whenever you think of the equilibrium world, whenever we talk about the equilibrium world, we must remember that in the equilibrium world, if it is a one commodity world that we are talking about, that is दुनिया में सिर्फ एक commodity है, then the equilibrium is achieved when the price becomes equals to marginal utility, right? But in the two commodity world, we have another thing in our syllabus. What do we call it? The other thing in our syllabus that we have, friends, is the concept of indifference curve approach. Now ICAI may ask you, who proposed this indifference curve approach to achieve equilibrium? Remember the name? Hicks and Allen. Hicks and Allen. Hicks and Allen. This was the indifference curve approach. But then how do we arrive at equilibrium here? So friends, let me draw a lot of indifference curve for you. See, I have drawn a lot of indifference curve, but suppose the budget line is tangent to this indifference curve. So the point of tangency, that is the point at which the budget line externally touches the indifference curve, is your equilibrium point under the two commodity world. What is equilibrium? The point of maximum satisfaction for the consumer. Yes, sir, we have agreed. We have understood this. Friends, fifth point which I would like to reiterate here is the different concept of cost. Oftentimes, you friends get confused between implicit cost and explicit cost. So I would like to take 2 minutes to revise this so that you don't make a mistake here. Explicit cost and implicit cost. Okay. So friends, explicit cost is the cost that results in actual outflow. The cost that results in actual outflow, the costs that result in actual outflow is called explicit cost. Example, suppose I am taking a class from a studio. Okay. In order to maintain the studio, I have to hire a person who basically is the in charge of the studio, who takes care of the cleanliness, the technology needs of this studio. Friends, I am paying him or her a salary. So friends, this is actual outflow. This is the explicit cost. But friends, what is implicit cost? Suppose I have another house. Suppose I have house number 2 where I have made this studio. जहां पर मैंने ये studio बना रखा है. If I would have hired some other studio, I would have to pay rent. Or if I would have given my other house on rent, then I would have been able to make some money. But because I decided that, okay, I will not give my house number 2 on rent, rather I will use my house number 2 for my own purposes. Friends, the rent that I have sacrificed, is called the implicit cost, पैसे का न आना भी पैसे का जाना होता है. This is what implicit cost is. Money not coming in. Why? Because you choose to do business on your other owned asset. So the money that is not flowing in because of your decision to do this is the implicit cost of that decision. Understood, sir? We have understood, sir. So that is the difference between implicit cost and explicit cost. Another term that often crops up is opportunity cost. Now students tell me that, sir, opportunity cost same hota hai kya implicit cost ki tarah? More or less yes, but there is some difference. See, implicit cost always talks about ownership of an asset. So you should have an ownership of an asset and you would sacrifice some rental income or some income on that asset. But in opportunity cost, ownership of an asset is not important. Opportunity cost is just the cost of next best alternative sacrificed. Opportunity cost is the cost of next best alternative sacrificed. So friends, suppose I am teaching you all and I am revising with you all in today's class economics, right? This time I could have used and I would have decided that, okay, I will go and play cricket during this time. Suppose, just for example, I am saying, so the cricket that I have sacrificed in order to revise this lecture with you, friends, that is my opportunity cost. So opportunity cost doesn't necessarily mean that it is to be measurable in terms of money. Any sacrifice done, Any next best alternative that has been sacrificed is rather the concept of opportunity cost. If I were to talk about curves, friends, few curves are very important: TFC, TC, TVC, AFC, AFC, AVC, AC, MC. Friends, these curves are very important. So let me reiterate the, what should I say? The shape of each of these. Friends, total fixed cost remains the same no matter what. So it's a horizontal line. It's a horizontal line parallel to x-axis because it doesn't change with the quantity level. Total cost is, friends, a curve which is inverse S shaped, which is inverse S shaped. TVC is yet another curve which is again inverse S shaped. AFC curve, as I have told, is a shape which is a rectangular hyperbola. Average variable cost, friends, is a U-shaped curve. AC curve is a U-shaped curve. MC curve is also a U-shaped curve. Why these three are U-shaped? If I were to talk about short run, these three are U-shaped because of law of variable proportion. Why TC and TVC are inverse S-shaped? The reason is law of variable proportion. Why AFC is rectangular hyperbola? Because TFC remains constant and quantity rises. So AFC falls. This is the reason behind the different shapes that they would ask in the examination. If I were to talk about curves, the discussion on microeconomics would be incomplete if I don't talk to you about the equilibrium achieved in perfect competition. Friends, I have told you that in a perfect competitive world, in a perfectly competitive world, equilibrium is achieved at a point where the demand curve intersects the supply curve. The point where the demand curve will intersect the supply curve is the point where a consumer would achieve equilibrium, is a point where a consumer would achieve equilibrium. We call this to be equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity, and this point is referred to as equilibrium point. This is what it is. Friends, we have discussed that if there is an increase in demand, friends, if there is an increase in demand, then we see a rightward shift of the demand curve, a rightward shift of the demand curve. Friends, if there is a decrease in demand, then what we see is a leftward shift of the demand curve. Then what we see is the leftward shift of the demand curve, right? Same thing with supply, rightward or leftward shift. Understood, sir? The ninth point I would like to reiterate is that the point where price is becoming at least equal to the average variable cost is the shutdown point. Shutdown point. Below this, you will not produce. This point is the shutdown point. Here you can take the decision to shut down because then also your loss will be fixed cost. And if you continue producing, then also your loss would be equal to fixed cost. Yes, sir, we have understood this. Next thing was the concept of business cycle. Friends, when I talk to you about business cycle, what I say is that generally you should remember the expansion phase wherein everything is going good. Employment levels are rising, output is rising, people are earning money, and expenditure in the society is rising. Just the opposite of expansion is the contraction phase of the economy, also refers to as the recession phase, where things go haywire and things start going down. Friends, beyond this, when you reach the topmost point, that is called the peak, and when you reach the bottommost point, we call it the trough or the depression phase. Trough or the depression phase. Friends, what I am sure about in business cycle will come, you can consider it that सर ने क्लास में, सर ने रिवीजन क्लास में पेपर ही बता दिया, तो लो मैं बता देता हूं, either this will come in the exam or what the other two I am saying will come in the examination. I am not 90% sure. I am 100% sure. So pay attention to what I am going to say. Friends, in the business cycle, either they will ask question from this phase or they will ask question from the characteristics. There are 7 to 8 characteristics written in the ICAI module. For example, business cycles are not consistent. Obviously, each phase will come, but there is no particular duration of each phase, right? And each phase affects the different sectors in an ununiform manner. What I'm meaning to say, in a non-uniform manner, what I'm meaning to say is that the impact of business cycle is different on each businesses, right, sir? Either they will talk to you from here, the characteristic portion of things, okay, or they will talk to you from the indicators point of view. The leading indicators, friends, leading indicators are those indicators which before the economy has started showing any pattern, they start changing. For example, new orders are coming in, it means economy is going to rise. There are something called lagging indicators. Friends, lagging indicators means they will show the change after the event has taken place. After the event has taken place, right? For example, unemployment levels. After the economy struck down, then the unemployment starts rising. And then there is coincident indicator like national income. They rise with the rise in economy, fall with the fall in economy. So there it is. And one more thing I would like to say is the different lags that we experience, right? From lags also institute has been asking questions like impact lag, recognition lag, right? So this is something that one must revise from business cycles. Okay, sir. Friends, if I were to discuss to you about the world of national income, as you already know my style, I would always focus on three primary formulas. Remember, whenever they have given you gross, if you deduct depreciation, also called as capital consumption allowance, you reach net. Okay. Whenever to domestic product, you add NFIA, you reach national product. When you add
Ashish, just one
NFIA
second.
to domestic product, you reach national product. And one more thing,
Ashish, just one second.
sorry.
Yeah. Just one second. In case of a business cycle, the leading, lagging, and other indicators that you are talking about, again, the examples that has been given in the study material is also very important. The examples that has been given in the study material, the students can also uh, remember that, because generally sometimes the examples that has been given, the questions are been asked in the examination. So that is an important aspect also, particularly in case of this business cycle. Although the characteristics, all other phases and all other part that you had already explained, that is no doubt about that. And uh, but sometimes the examples that has been given the study module regarding that particular indicators, they, from there also questions is been asked. So be careful about not only understanding the concepts, the examples that has been referred to should also you will able to understand that, or you can remember that. Okay, continue.
Okay, right, sir. So, sir has rightly pointed out that the examples given in the ICAI material are very, very important. So, friends, exactly, sir has rightly pointed out. So, you all must go through it. In fact, the examples that I have also given is from the ICAI mat only. The fact that I have read it so many times that I am able to recollect. This is what should happen with you, friends, during the exam time. You should read it so many times that you are able to remember the page number also. That should be the clarity, right? So there it is. Now coming back to the point, factory prices. Whenever to factory prices, friends, you add net indirect taxes, you reach the market prices. Sir, what is net indirect taxes? Friends, it is indirect taxes minus subsidies is what gives you net indirect taxes. Okay, sir, we have understood this. Friends, when we talk about national income, the discussion would be incomplete if I don't talk to you about GDP deflator. What is the formula, sir? Because the questions can come from here. Remember, the formula is nominal GDP by real GDP into 100. Nominal GDP by real GDP into 100. Now, whatever ICI gives you, they will, out of this three information, give you two. So you just put the information therein and you will arrive at the third data, whatever they ask you to solve. right? Now, when we talk about national income, naturally, there are some points to be remembered. There are some precautions to be taken. All of you know the methods very well, the value added method, the income method, and expenditure method. So I would not like to talk about that because lengthy questions have very little chance of appearing in exam. But from precautions, ICI might set questions. So it is my duty to recall that with you. Friends, what happens is that when we talk about national income precautions, the number one precaution is the thing that you should not include, you should not include income which is generated from transfer payments. Friends, actually transfer payments are payments which you have received without contributing anything towards the national output, right? So let me say for example that, okay, I am receiving pension from the government. Suppose for example, that is a transfer payment. I have not contributed anything. I have retired. That is what is transfer payment, friends. So they don't form a part of national income. Any windfall gain is like lottery, etc., will not form a part of national income because you in reality have not contributed anything towards that particular thing. Moving on to the third precaution, everyone. The third precaution, hello friends, the third precaution is very important. The third precaution is, pay attention guys, the third precaution is that we should remember that services for self-consumption, like services of housewives, for example, like services of housewives will not be included in national income. Services of housewives will not be included in national income. Do they increase our welfare? Yes. But are they included in national income? The answer is no. But on the other hand, on the contrary, if there was a farmer who was growing crops for self-consumption, then any goods for self-consumption can be included in national income. So you could say that there are two different things happening here, but no, it is the same thing to be remembered. Services will not be included, goods for self-consumption would be included. Logic was given in the class, so you could, revamp the class and go through it. Moving on. Moving on. These were some of the precautions that I mentioned to you. Coming back to the concept wherein you should remember that in the Keynesian economics, we have different types of sectors. In the Keynesian economics, we have two sector world. In the Keynesian economics, we have three sector world. In a Keynesian economics, we have four sector world. Friends, when I say two sector world, it means the household sector and the firms. When I say the three sector world, it means the household sector, the firms, and the government. And when I say the four sector, it is the household, the firm, and ROW, the rest of the world. The household, the firm, the government, the rest of the world. Exactly, friends. This is what I was telling you all. Moving on, sir. Moving on, sir. Moving on, sir. Sir, having said this much, what else do we want to discuss? What else do we want to discuss? What else do we want to discuss? Friends, after this, you should remember the formula of Keynesian economics, which is aggregate demand equals to aggregate supply. When I say aggregate demand, if it was two sector world, then in aggregate demand, I would have written C plus I. If it was, normally we follow C plus I only. Just for your explanation, I am saying, had it been three sector, it was C plus I plus G. And had it been four sector, it would be C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Whatever it is, we are primarily concerned with two sector. Most sums are given from two sector. But yes, if you remember, all the sums of ICI material I had done in the regular class. So you can just, if you want to go through all the sums, you are more than welcome to go and watch them. Every sum has been done. Okay, sir. Got it, sir. So now coming back to the topic, aggregate supply, also called national income, includes consumption and savings. Consumption and savings. Okay. Right, sir. Consumption and savings. Consumption and savings. Of course, if government comes in, then you have taxes, etc., etc. So there it is. What I am primarily focused on is C plus I equal to C plus S. Friends, then there is another concept in Keynesian economics which tells us to find average propensity to consume. Friends, APC is consumption by income. APS is savings by income. MPC is, friends, change in consumption by change in income. And MPS is change in savings by change in income. And guess what? If you add both APC and APS, you get one. If you add both MPC and MPS, you get one. So this also takes care of your numerical portion of things, right? This also takes care of your numerical portion of things. Right, sir? We are crystal clear with this. Then friends, we have understood, once we have discussed this, then we have understood about the theory of public finance. In public finance, friends, in the concept of public finance, friends, a particular reference was made to Richard Musgrave. The name is very important because the foundation of this chapter was because of Richard Musgrave. So Richard Musgrave in the theory of public finance talks about the role of state slash the government. And there are three primary roles that has been highlighted, which I would like to discuss with you. So what are the three primary roles of the state, sir? As per Richard Musgrave, friends, the three roles of state are, if you all remember it, you can write it down with me. The allocation function. Yes, the allocation function as to how you are using your resources. गवर्नमेंट अपने रिसोर्सेस को कैसे इस्तेमाल कर रही है, ये एलोकेशन फंक्शन में हमें समझ में आता है. Allocation function tells us that. Then we have the redistribution function. So suppose goods are being used or resources are being used to produce useless commodities. So suppose government thinks that, okay, plastic is useless, or let's say alcohol is useless. Government may tax them at high rates and use the money to fund necessities. That is redistribution functions. And eventually stabilization functions. These are the primary functions which Mr. Musgrave wrote in his book. 1959 was the year when the book was released. The book's name was Theory of Public Finance. Remember the name? Richard Musgrave, year 1959. Right, sir? We understand this much, sir. This also brings me to an important concept. Remember that there is an important focus on fiscal federalism. Fiscal federalism means that the government has distributed decision-making powers between the center and the state, right? So the state should also get a chance to speak, is what fiscal federalism talks about. Do you remember the article of our constitution which divides the power between center and state? Let me revise with you. Though it is a fact-based question, I would like to revise that with you. Article 246. Friends, Article 246 talks about three type of lists. One, you have union list. This includes those matters which are entirely at the control of central government, right? Now, after union list, there is state list. These include matters. Now see, most direct taxes are included in union list. State list include items on which state governments can impose tax. For example, property, land, agriculture. All this is coming under state list. And then you have concurrent list. These are matters where both center and state together take decision. Concurrent list example I would like to tell you is education. The education sector that we are at in. Concurrent list. The protection of the country, right? So it is again to some extent coming to this portion. Right, sir. Right, sir. Right, sir. Also, there is a distribution of revenue earned between the center and the state, which we had discussed in our regular class. Then we talked about what is market failure. So friends, market failure occurs when resources are not allocated properly. That is, the resources should be used in producing some goods, but they are being used in production of some other goods overall. Why market failure occur? We had discussed 3 to 4 points there, which I would like to reiterate. The number one reason was market power. Friends, I also call market power as monopoly power. Friends, I also call market power as monopoly power. Friends, I also call market power as monopoly power. Then there are certain externalities. Externalities, as you know, is also known as spillover effect or neighborhood effect, right, sir? Then we spoke about public goods, and then we spoke about information asymmetry or incomplete information. that was responsible for market failure. Yes, sir, we definitely do agree that we had spoken about this. We had discussed about this in our regular class. Friends, then we spoke about the fiscal policies of the government, that is where the government either imposes taxes that is impacting the government's revenue, or if the government does not do that, then what the government does is that government gives subsidy. So that is also public expenditure. So anything dealing with government expenditure and revenue comes under the fiscal responsibility. Friends, then it was very important to understand the different deficits, budget deficits that takes place in our country, because that is very important discussion. Friends, remember, now there are not two budgets. Railway budget is now also part of our regular budget. So there is no two budgets now that is issued. Budget deficit, friends, primarily three concepts are important for your discussion, right? You have the concept of revenue deficit, you have the concept of revenue deficit, you have the concept of fiscal deficit, and then you have the concept of primary deficit, right? So friends, revenue deficit is a scenario, is the amount where revenue expenditure exceeds revenue receipts. Fiscal deficit simply means government borrowings. And if you want to calculate it, it is total expenditure minus total receipts of the government. In this total receipts, we don't include borrowings. So in the total receipts of the government, don't include borrowings. And when you compute primary deficit, friends, primary deficit is nothing but fiscal deficit minus interest payments. Primary deficit is nothing but it is fiscal deficit minus IP, that is interest payments. That becomes very important. Friends, if you were to talk about money, then we had spoken about different theories of money, which is very important. Different theories of money. One was quantity theory of money. One was quantity theory of money, QTM, also called the Fisher's approach. Also called the Fisher's approach. It is also called the transaction approach. This approach believes that people borrow money only for buying goods and services, right? So only for transaction needs, people buy money. Then we spoke about the Cambridge theory or the Cambridge approach to the demand for money, where we spoke about the neoclassical economists, Here we had studied that money is used for two reasons: for hedging and for transactions. For transactions and hedging. When I say hedging, it means for a precaution, right? And transaction is already discussed. So there it is, the reason behind why one needs money. And then we spoke about the Keynes liquidity preference theory, which spoke about the fact that we need money to satisfy all the three reasons: for transaction motive, that is to buy goods and services; for speculative motive, that is to take advantage of any fluctuation in price levels; and precautionary motive, that is, to prevent ourselves from any kind of risks that might arise in the future, maybe due to earthquake, war, or so many other reasons, right? Then we spoke about the different measures of money supply. Then we talk about the different measures of money supply. So there was M1. In M1 we studied about, M1 is what, by the way, M1 is also called narrow money. And then we studied in money that in narrow money you have currency with public. In narrow money you have currency with public, plus you have demand deposit with banks. Demand deposit means CASA deposits, current account and savings account deposits, and other deposits with RBI. Other deposits with RBI. That is your M1. Right, friends? Why? Because this was specified by RBI. It's not that M1 is something that has been arrived by us, so I need to spread the logic. No, it was just the decision of RBI, and that is what we got to respect. M1, my dear friends, is the most liquid, that is easily available in monetary terms or cash terms. M2 is M1 plus savings deposit with post office. Savings deposit with post office. Savings deposit with post office. Then we have M3, which is M1 plus. Most students think that sir ने गलत लिख दिया है. No, I have not written wrong. M3 is not M2 plus something. It's M1 plus time deposit with banks. For example, amount in FD, RD. So time deposits. Remember, M3 is called broad money. So don't be confused. M1 is narrow money, M3 is broad money. And then you have M4, friends, which is M3 plus all the deposits with post office, all the deposit with post office, excluding national saving certificate. Remember, national saving certificate do not count. One more question that came in January attempt was to calculate currency with public. So friends, I am writing the formula for currency with public. You all can note it down if you wish. It includes the notes in circulation, that is the notes that are circulating in the economy. Then we have circulation of rupee coin. Then we have the circulation of rupee coin. Okay. Then we have the circulation of small coins, right? Small coins, small paisa coins. Then we have the cash on hand with banks, cash in hand with banks, cash on hand with banks. Then when you add all of these, you get the currency with public. Okay, sir. Then we had understood the formula of money multiplier. Friends, the formula of money multiplier is money supply by monetary base. So monetary base, what is the formula for monetary base? It is the currency in circulation. It is the currency in circulation plus reserves with the banks, plus reserves with the banks, plus reserves with the bank. Okay. Currency in circulation plus reserves with the banks. These were some very important concepts that were important for your examination. Friends, then coming on to the theories of international trade. International trade is when buying and selling takes place between multiple countries. Here, two languages become important, FDI and FPI. So if somebody, FPI, okay, foreign direct investment and foreign portfolio investment. If some foreigner invests in our country or our country invests in some foreign country and we buy 10% or more of the assets of that company, then it is FDI. But if it is less than 10%, it is FPI. FPI is primarily done to make fluctuation, to make profit out of fluctuation in the share prices or the value of shares of that country, right? But friends, guess what? In FDI, friends, the logic is to take active participation in the business management of that country. Now, friends, as Nikhil sir had pointed out earlier in his discussion, he spoke about tariff. So few important types of tariffs that countries' government impose on each other is what I am going to discuss. Very important, mind you, specific tariff. Friends, one tariff question will definitely come. It also came in the January attempt. That time also I told that attempt students that it is going to be important. Now I am telling you, specific tariff is a scenario where the tax on a commodity that is being imported is fixed per unit. So suppose we are importing bicycle from US. Just example. So let's say Indian government says that okay, we are going to charge rupees 500 per bicycle. That is the concept of specific tariff, friends. Then you have ad valorem tariff. Friends, when we say ad valorem tariff, it means when the tariff is imposed as a fixed percentage. When you fix tariff as a fixed percentage, right, sir? Then you have friends another concept called mixed tariff. What is mixed tariff, sir? Students get confused between mixed tariff and compound tariff. So I would like to clear that confusion up. Mixed tariff is a scenario, friends, where government will impose 500 per bicycle or 10%, whichever is higher. That is the key here. Whichever is higher, whichever will bring more revenue to the government is going to do that. Then you have compound tariff. It includes both the tariffs now. Compound tariff includes both the tariffs now. Sir, what does it mean, sir? Compound tariff means both the tariffs, sir. It means that government, let's say for cheese, government says that, okay, 100 per kg for cheese, we are going to charge for every import plus 5% of value of that cheese. When government does this, friends, we call it to be compound tariff. One question from mixed tariff or compound tariff, I feel will come in your examination. Fifth question is technical tariff. Sir, what is technical tariff? Friends, here the tax is not imposed on the final commodity. No, it's not. The tax is imposed on the raw material used to make that final commodity. So suppose one EV is imported into our country, e-vehicle, okay, electric vehicle, I mean. Now, if an e-vehicle, electric vehicle is imported, the government will not impose tax directly on it. Government sees that, okay, there is solar power, solar panel here. Okay, so on solar panel, we are going to, let's say, charge 5,000 rupees. On, let's say this engine that you have applied here, we are going to charge 10%, whatever it is. Here, components are taxed for the final product and not the final product in itself, right? As this generally tends to bring more revenues for the different country governments, right? So this is very important. In regional trade agreements, friends, bilateral agreements are very important. So very important. So you must go through it. The G20, of which India is also a part, is very important. Now, if I come to foreign exchange world, friends, there are generally three ways in which foreign exchange rate is arrived at. The number one is fixed exchange rate. Number two is fluctuating or flexible exchange rate. And the another one is managed float. If institute asks you कि India क्या follow करता है, remember India follows managed float. In fixed exchange rate system, exchange rate is decided by the government of the country. In flexible exchange rate system, the exchange rate is decided by the market forces. In managed float, what happens is basically government fixes a upper ceiling and a lower limit, lower floor. Now exchange rate is left to the markets. So okay, let the markets decide what the exchange rate is going to be. So exchange rate is allowed to fluctuate at its own free will. Only when it tries to cross any limit, any boundary, be it the upper or the lower, then the government will interfere and kind of make adjustments to this entire thing. Friends, that is what is called a managed float. So here there is a participation of both. Understood, sir. Friends, if you talk about Indian economy as a chapter, what is very important in Indian economy? What is very important in Indian economy is the functions of Niti Aayog. Remember, Niti Aayog stands for National Institution for Transforming India. It came up in the 2015 year and it had replaced which body? It had replaced the Planning Commission. Niti Aayog has come with multiple programs and functions, all of which one should read because they are very, very important for your examination from Indian economy. The different programs taken by the government to manage the agricultural sector, or for that matter, to manage the industrial sector, are yet another important areas to be looked into by everybody. When did the reforms come? The LPG reforms come. The LPG reforms came in 1991. LPG stands for liberalization, privatization, and globalization, dear students. So liberalization, privatization, and globalization came during that time. Friends, these were some of the areas which I felt was very, very important for your syllabus. Any other questions, students, that you might be having, I am taking up. One student is asked, in India, what is the effect by the tariff? So dear, that depends on the rate, on the tariff that you are talking about. Okay. Obviously, if India is, if China and US are fighting, naturally India will gain out of this situation because factories will move out of China and come to India. So yes, in that scenario, India is going to gain. Any other doubts anybody is having, please ask. Or otherwise, it's up to Nikhil sir, like what next action to be taken, sir.
Yeah. Definitely, in Assis, I'll sum up with the basic distinction of market structure. Although in detail we had discussed about that there are four types of market structure: perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly. Now, what are the important characteristics of perfect competition? There are large number of firms. What are the nature of the product? Mostly the product are homogeneous in nature, and the price elasticity of demand is infinite, and the degree of the control over price is none. Nobody can influence the price. Basically, it's a price taker. You cannot set the price, and since large number of firms are there, so there is no differentiation of the product. So the product is homogeneous in nature. Now, in case of monopoly, there is one firm. which is producing a unique product. The price elasticity of demand of the firm is small, and the degree of the control is very high, because the only firm that is in the market, he can decide the price of the product. So what is the price and what is the quantity he'll be producing, that all the decisions is being taken by that particular firm. Now, in case of monopolistic competition, there are large number of firms, but the distinction between perfect and monopolistic competition is, in perfect competition, the product are homogeneous. In case of monopolistic competition, here is differentiated products are there. So a lot of amount on advertising and selling costs are incurred in case of monopolistic competition. The price elasticity of demand of a firm is large. Degree of control, some control over the prices, because definitely every producer want to have his product unique. So some amount of degree of control over the price is there. And in case of oligopoly, there are few firms. Product can be homogeneous or differentiated. The price elasticity of demand of a firm is small, and degree of control will be some. Now, these are the important highlights of the different forms of market structure. So here in this session, right from session unit 1 to unit 10, we had discussed in detail the important concepts, important aspects, the pattern of questions, the important formulas that need to be remembered or that need to be revised, how to attempt the questions, how to negate the wrong choices, how to be consistent, focus during this last 15-20 days in the examination period. Although in detail, all this from in detail we have been talking about, but here we are again making you realize that from the examination perspective, smart work is more important rather than bulky work. So you need to be smart at this point of time. So definitely how to approach the exam, every student has his own way of approaching the exams. Only as a person who having experience, who's been teaching this subject, from their experience, we can only suggest the student that these are the areas that need to be focused upon, because generally if you see the questions that has been appearing in the examinations, from there only we can make assessment that the focus areas that need to be stressed upon, and that need to be every time when you are reading the concepts, revision, you can revise the concepts, because once that has been clearly understood, although we had tried to make you understand with the very basic examples, even the diagram that we had drawn over in the classes, apart from the practice questions that we had given through the whole this LBC classes, were for the purpose that make you able to learn the subject. And apart from this, any questions that has been appearing in the paper, you are able to solve that the questions. So right from unit 1 to unit 10, we had discussed in detail all the concepts in brief, although giving the time, although in detail that has already been discussed. So we are having no doubt that most of the students who are attending this are aware of that. But this is basically a class where we can stress upon the strategy, the important highlighted concepts that need to be kept in mind from the examination perspective, that yes, these concepts we cannot leave, because definitely sometimes questions keep on coming from one concepts. So while you are making your analysis, don't leave any questions, because all questions that has been coming in the examinations uh, uh, are having a chance, that is a probability that you cannot negate that something is been asked cannot be again asked. That can be asked. So the point is, in brief, we had discussed in detail the strategy, the paper, the types of questions, the the kind of confidence that is been required to crack this paper, the module that you need to study, questions, the summary at the end of chapters, the importance of diagrams. So all we had tried to cover. So definitely, even the assessment after each classes, we are giving you some questions so that you can have the mastery of the subject. So all we had taken care of, that the students can basically, while attending these classes, can also gain a lot of knowledge. Even we are getting a lot of positive response, that people are scoring 80. Even I had got from the previous examinations, people have scored 85, even 90 marks in economics. So we are very encouraged by such responses that has been coming across. So right now, this is all what from Board of Studies academics that we want to tell the student, that you have worked hard, don't be disheartened, be patient, and in the last 20 days, maximize your potential so that you can clear your foundation examinations. And mind you, all the papers, whether it's accounting, whether it's law, whether it's statistics, whether economics, all are important. So you have to clear all the papers. So prepare your strategy. Don't neglect any paper, because passing in each subject is important, because in aggregate, that is important. Not only 40 marks, you have to score aggregate of 50% in aggregates. So good luck from our side. Thank you, Assis. Thanks, Ajit, for this this whole LBC classes that you are taking a lot of pain for the last 2.5 months for this foundation students. So we can just wish that you all clear your exams, and you will soon become a intermediate student. So all the best. Thank you.
Good luck, students, and thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.